Pascal. You are now rocking with that dude Pascal. We be going wild, Haitian in the building, so original. Got the haters catching feelings. Get your hands up to the ceiling and keep them held high, cause St. Louis isn't ready. Forget about it, goodbye. Hold on, we just saying hi. Five somebody, rise up. Weekdays, catch us live, somebody, let's go.
Good afternoon. Good evening and good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Pascal Show. Hope you guys all doing well out there. Hope this show finds you in good spirits, because another day above the dirt is always a blessing. Let's not forget that. We got some things to talk about, but not a whole lot of time to talk about it. Unfortunately, we got things we have got to get into today. It's been a little bit of a busy day, and then it's going to be even more of a busy day this evening as well. So I wanted to squeeze in this show really quick and chop it up with you guys about a few things that are going on that I think we need to talk about, okay? There's a few things that I didn't get a chance to talk to you guys last night that happened, and then there's been things that have been popping off since then. So we got to talk about a lot of stuff, okay? So I appreciate you guys being here. It really means the world to me. So real quick, let's just get this out of the way so we can continue with our conversation. Please do me a favor, hit that like button down below, crush it, do what to do, hit that reaction button if you're watching on these other platforms. If you are watching on these other platforms like Facebook, X/Twitter, Instagram, Rumble, Twitch, Kick, I'm on all of them. Make sure you hit that reaction button, and of course, do not forget to hit that follow button as well, okay? Don't forget to subscribe here on my YouTube channel. Go to my second channel, The Pascal Show Clips, and check out my third channel, Pascal Raw. Subscribe, please, and thank you. That'd be awesome, okay? And of course, don't forget to hit that join button or hit that notification bell so you know whenever I go live, whenever I upload. Don't forget to hit that join button down below. Check out my Patreon, and of course, check out PascalMerch.com. We got some really great stuff over there. PascalMerch.com. Okay, guys. Whoo! What a day yesterday. Let me just say that. There was a lot going on, and it sucked because I was not feeling super well. I am still under the weather, just to be completely honest, but I'm here because I wanted to give you guys the information and the updates because there's a lot going on. So if you show some grace, show some love by simply hitting that like button down below for a sick man being on the show with you guys right now, that'd be greatly appreciated. All right, just don't forget to hit that like button. But there's a lot going on here, guys. And you see the title above, down below, wherever you're reading the title, okay, wherever you're watching this show right here, you could tell that people aren't buying the text messages that were submitted, the dialogue that was made between allegedly Tyler Robinson, the assailant that took the life of Charlie Kirk, and his boyfriend / roommate / transgender furry lover, Lance Twiggs. There's a lot of people that are wondering what the hell's going on here. And there's a lot of people that just are not, they're just not buying the vibe. Okay. A lot of people are not buying this vibe here. Okay. Really, some people are going, yo, let's keep it a bean. Okay. Do kids at 22 years old, are they really talking like this via text message? Now, I'm going to say this. And thank you so much for the get well soon. Hope you're feeling better wishes to me. I really do appreciate that. It really means the world to me. Okay. But do you really think, I'm asking a question. So don't just leave just yet. I'm asking a simple question before there's automatically like, oh, how dare he ask this question? I'm out. It's a question. Do you think that kids talk like this? Now, I'm going to say something. Really quick that's going to make some people very upset. Okay. Yeah, they kind of do. Some people do talk like this. Some people do actually text message this way. Here's the other thing, too. You got to remember, from what I'm gathering, it seems like this guy is very unique. Okay, he different. Yeah, he different. Okay. That's what I'm thinking. That he might be just strange. And maybe that's how he talks. But here's the thing. I'm just putting that on the table. Okay? I'm putting that on the table because some people are like, who talks like this? What 22-year-old kid talks like this? Some who feel like that's how they show love. Some who might be living in a world where they only live off the internet and feel like this is the only way, or this is the way to communicate love and adoration towards another person via text message. Something to think about. Hold on. Like I said, I'm battling this cold, y'all. Woo! But think about it for a second, okay? Now, here's the thing. Because you can't automatically assume. I'm just putting these thoughts into your brain for a second. Just playing devil's advocate for a second. Because I know how the rest of the world has been reacting to this, okay? A lot of people are saying exactly what I'm saying right now. Or what I just said to you before, which is what 22-year-old is talking to their other 22-year-old boyfriend, lover, girlfriend, whatever. Who's actually out there talking like that? Okay? Let me tell you. Some people that just don't know how to really communicate properly, or that just dance to the beat to their own different little drummer boy. That could very well be what it is. Or the feds just gave us a fugazi. This is all fake. That this whole thing is a fugazi. Okay? If you've seen Wolf of Wall Street, okay. Matthew McConaughey sitting there talking to Leonardo DiCaprio. He's talking about this. It's a fugazi. You know, this whole thing's it's a what's it? It's a what's it? It's a what's it? It's a fugazi. So this could very well be a fugazi. I'm still putting that on the table. But a lot of people, okay? A lot of people are not buying this. A lot of people are not buying this at all. Like, you know, we're just looking at the first part. You know, he says, look under my keyboard, right? So he looks under the keyboard, he finds the letter, which basically said, had the chance to take out Charlie Kirk, so I took it. So the roommate goes, what? You're joking, right? Right. And I even said it. I even wrote it. I even did a video as a short about this because I felt like I was like, something ain't right. Something feels very forced here. There's a lot of exposition with not a whole lot of story in this script. So whether it's true or not, I'm still side-eyeing it. It could very well be how they talk. You got to remember, allegedly, the boyfriend, Lance Twiggs, allegedly a furry, transgender furry. I don't know. I got questions. Okay? I got a whole lot of questions. But the way he's talking to Twiggs is very like, I'm still okay, my love. Right? I'm stuck in Orem for a little while longer yet. Shouldn't be long until I can come home, but I got to grab my rifle still. It's very old-timey, old English type of thing. Now, here's the thing, though. He gives me the vibe from what I'm hearing, you know, what the streets are saying, the screets, not the streets, the screets are saying. He's very much giving off the vibe like he lives in his own little world. He definitely lives in his own little world. And that maybe he's been so deep into, they were calling him like Reddit Tyler or something like that. Reddit something. At least friends were saying that. People that went to school with him. He was very much deep in the internet and just like sucked himself into the internet. And that's where he lived, right? And maybe something snapped in his brain that made him do what he did here, right? Now, I don't have the answers, but I am repeating what a lot of people are saying out here in the internet streets, which is people are not buying it. They're not buying this dialogue. Like I said before, in my short, even in the live that I gave you guys, in my live reaction of the reading of this dialogue between him and his roommate slash boyfriend slash furry slash transgender partner, Lance Twigs. I even said to you guys then, this feels like they tore a page out of a really, really, like the first draft of a Tyler Perry script. I said it then too, because I felt like it was way too much exposition, but not a whole lot of story in the script. And you've seen those movies, okay? We've all seen those movies, those really badly written movies that end up on Tubi, but for some odd reason go viral because of God knows what. It could be the wigs. It could be one act or one moment that happens in the movie that makes people go and watch the movie because it's so ridiculous. It's hilarious, but they're trying to take themselves seriously. Tyler Perry movies, okay? And Tubi movies, okay? A lot of time, you'll see that, right? Somebody also commented on when I posted my short, because I was like, this just feels like it just was torn out of a Tyler Perry movie. Somebody said it's as if somebody asked ChatGPT to write their own version of a Danielle Steele book. I was like, that's fire. Okay. And here's the thing. I'm not throwing out any conspiracy theories. I'm talking about what everybody's talking about. And a lot of people are not buying this. Some on the right are buying it, but some on both sides are not buying it. It's very interesting. It's very interesting because this is the moment that I feel like it's becoming very bipartisan for the most part. Majority of people are kind of joining in the middle and going, wait a second, this is weird. The dialogue is weird. Okay? This is not conspiracy. I'm talking about fact. You could go online and see other people. Don't worry, we're going to get into that conversation here in just a minute. But you can see it for your own self. This is not me spreading conspiracy theories. This is me talking about what the streets are talking about, and they are all on both sides of the freaking political fence saying that they are not buying this. That is a massive difference. If I was just on here just spreading rumor for the sake of spreading rumor, then say it. Then call me out. But I'm not spreading rumor on the sake of spreading rumor. I'm talking about what's going on out here in these streets. And everyone's guttural reaction is, I am not buying it. Everyone from Candace Owens to the left are sitting here going, we are not buying this. And that is insane. Okay? Now, we're going to be talking about Candace Owens here in a second because she had some things to say, and she allegedly had a conversation with Lance Twigs, one of Lance Twigs' family members, okay? And it's very interesting what she says. We're going to be looking at that here in just a minute because we definitely need to talk about that because she has been making waves. Now, she even said herself, this is one of my friends. I ain't backing down. And you know how she is. She's like a shark. As soon as she smells blood, she goes after it, and she goes after it hard. Now, here's the thing. Remember, this is Candace Owens that we're talking about. Her theories could be absolutely wrong. They could be absolutely off. But nonetheless, there are some things that are very interesting in what she's saying. Okay? And the other thing, too, is people are going in on the FBI. People are literally saying that the FBI is just full of bullshit, that they just concocted a letter, a correspondence between Tyler and Twigs, just so that they could kind of cover the situation. Okay, and Letitia, yes, I have covered Trey Reed. I talked about that in a short just late the other night. I know that there's new updates. There's another short coming out very, very soon about some updates, which is very wild. So yes, I have. Go check out my shorts. I talked about it. And I'm covering a lot of that on my Facebook page. So go over to my Facebook page and take a look at that as well. I'm covering it all. All right. So moving on back into the conversation. But thank you so much for the super chat. All right. But I am covering it. I have covered it. Okay. Just so you know. Moving on. Go to my Facebook page. Go to my Facebook page, The Pascal Show. Go check it out. I put in all that stuff. Okay. Now, here's the thing. There's a lot of theories that people are going ham with the theory. Okay. But here's the thing. This could very well be how Tyler talks to his main squeeze. It could very well be what it is. Just saying. This could very well be what and how they correspond with each other. You got to remember, there was a neighbor that said that he saw him, Tyler and Twigs together walking out, and he said that Twigs was like walking funny, right, to the car. Now, if Twigs believes, if the stories are true that that the boyfriend Twigs is a furry, okay, with all due respect, I'm just saying out loud, maybe that he believes that he is a specific animal. And he was trotting along as such. If you have that going on, what are the chances of them actually having dialogue that sounds a lot like this? Kind of old-timey, kind of, I'm just saying. I'm putting out all the possibilities here. I have no definitive opinion about this yet. Just saying. Just saying. So again, if this is, and some people are saying that they didn't give us the full text message exchange. Yeah, that's also the thing too. Some people are thinking that, hey, if you really look at it, it's him and the roommate for a minute, right? Then suddenly, out of nowhere, the roommate doesn't respond anymore. Roommate stops talking until much later when he makes a comment about actually taking out Charlie Kirk and saying that, oh, it looks like that $2,000 scope that I used worked, winky face, like, you know what I mean? Ha, 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 right? Finally, after that, that's when the roommate says, I'm much more worried about you. Now, this could go two different ways. One, they cut out all the information, the conversation that the roommate was having with Robinson. Or the roommate was tripping at that moment. That he truly, let's just say, he didn't know. Okay? He didn't even know that Robinson was going to do what he did. So this came to him as one big fat ass surprise. So he didn't know what to say. And also, maybe he didn't want to say anything. Mind you, I'm just exercising possibilities here. Okay, so don't at me. But maybe he was like, oh my God, what the hell? Like he said in the beginning, what? Are you joking? Right? Maybe he was like, I don't know what to say, and I don't want to be a part of this. So I don't want to say anything that could get me in trouble. Because he's admitting that he just committed a very gruesome and hideous crime. His lover, his partner, his roommate, right? And maybe he just didn't want to be involved in the conversation. But there is that theory that maybe 5-0 scrubbed a lot of information out of here to protect something. Or maybe not protect anything at all. I don't know. But it is weird that we're getting one side and it's just Tyler. And you also got to remember, this is over a course of a day at least. Okay? This is over a course of a day. This isn't over a course of just like, a few hours. This is over a course of a day. Mind you, For example, let's just zoom in on this here real quick, because I already read this whole thing for you guys. I read it, we heard it in the live. I read the transcript for you guys in a separate video, but he says it right here. Obviously, he's like, haha, wink, wink, my grandpa's $2,000 scope. I guess that's what did the trick, right? Moving on. He says, delete this exchange. This had to have been at least a decent amount of hours, okay? And you got to remember, Tyler had gotten back home. He went home at some point. And that's the other thing too, Jody. I agree. There's no timeline here. So the only thing you could do is use your common sense and try to figure out, okay, this clearly shows that there's a timeline that's being asked right now, right? Or there's a timeline, or there's hours between some of these text messages. You mean to tell me the roommate never said anything to him over that time? You mean to tell me he went back home and he didn't see Twigs for the 33 hours, for the, let's just say 24 hours that he was back home at the crib? Remember, when he confessed to his parents invited him over for lunch. So that means he was back at home. He was back at the crib with Twigs. Or maybe not with Twigs. Maybe Twigs was like, I can't be with you right now. I gotta go. I just gotta go. Maybe he did that. You're disgusting. I can't stand you. I'm out of here. Maybe he did that. Maybe Lance did that. That could be it. But he was still having conversations with him at some point. And there's nothing coming from the roommate at all. At all. So reminding you, delete this exchange. Nothing. Tyler, my dad wants photos of the rifle. Why would he suddenly want photos of the rifle? This had to have been over a course of several hours. Because you got to remember, 5-0 finally put out the cleaner versions of these photos, showing Tyler in all of his glory, so much that his mama was like, oh my gosh, that's Ty. Doesn't that look like Ty? That looks just like my son. I know my son, and I know that shirt. Honey, come here. Look at this. Doesn't that look like Ty? Well, yeah, it definitely does, ma'am. Sweetheart, that looks just like Ty. Well, wow. Yes, that looks exactly like him. We need to talk to him right now. Right? This is over a course of like 17 hours or so. Think about the timeline. They only gave us this crap. Okay, the melted face, the melted mask crap. Where is that ish? There it is. Remember this BS? Remember this this atrocity? See? Remember that? That's what they showed us first. Then they finally gave out. And this was out for like, the timeline was fast. Remember that. Timeline was cooking. Because everybody was looking at at 5-0 being like, you going to do something? Or you not going to do something, son? Right? Everybody in their mind was very, very concerned. But then they came out with these photos. Okay? 5-0 was trying to find this man right here. He was wearing a backpack and chucks and a dark baseball cap. So if he looks familiar to you, please contact your local authorities. So Mama Robitussin saw this and said, oh, honey, come here. Honey, husband, come here. Doesn't that look just like Ty? That looks just like my son, Ty. That I know my son from anywhere. I can't believe that's him. So, father says, yep, that looks just like Ty. Oh, my damn. Oh, my stars, because he's religious. Oh, my stars. Let's call him. So then they call Tyler. And then they say, father says, son, where were you on September 10th? Dad, I was home. I was sick. Merman. Right? So then they go, oh, well, that weapon looks damn familiar. Son, I need you to take a picture of that rifle right now. Lay it on your bed right now. Take a photo of that rifle right now. Right? So let's go back to the timeline. Let's go back to the text messages, shall we? So he says, delete this text message. My dad wants the photos of the rifle. He says, Grandpa wants to know who has what. The feds released a photo of the rifle, and it is very unique. He's calling me right now, not answering. Why was the father calling him right now? And he's not answering because he had already confronted Tyler, asking him where he was on September 10th. And he said, no, Dad, no, that wasn't me. I was sick. I was sick. Okay? I was sick, Dad. Oh, really? Well, son, if you're innocent, I need you to take a photo of Grandpa's rifle right now and send me that photo right now. Because something fishy going on. He didn't take the photo. So he immediately texted his lover, Twigs, delete this stuff right now. Delete this conversation right now. My dad wants photos of this rifle. He says, Grandpa wants to know who has what, which is a lie. He wanted to see if he had possession of the rifle. Okay. Feds released a photo of the rifle. It's very unique. He's calling me right now. I'm not answering. Oh my God. Timeline. Remember, I want you to remember the only reason why the parents started to put two and two together was not because of this melted face Halloween mask photo. It's because of these photos right here. When they recently put those out, remember, Cash Patel was there. He didn't say a damn thing. He just stood there, which was interesting. Right? As soon as these photos came out, they saw that press conference and they go, that's my son. Oh my God, that looks just like my son. We need to call him. We need to get down to the bottom of this as soon as possible. And they moved quick. That's why the dad said, send me a photo of this. Because anyway, Grandpa really wants to know where his stuff is. Send me that photo right now. Now I'm just relying on timeline here. I'm just relying on what we know so far. Okay. Just the timeline and just the facts and what's been written in black and white. So clearly, days went by, not days, but several hours went by, and he heard nothing from his love, or he was with his love. They got into a fight or something like that. I don't know. Roommate/boyfriend left. That's when he sent the text message like, delete this ish. Now my dad is asking for the photo of the rifle right now, and I don't have it, right? Then he goes on and says, this is clearly time later. He says, since Trump got into office, my dad has been pretty diehard MAGA. And then hours later, I'm going to turn myself in willingly. One of the neighbors here is a deputy for the sheriff. You're all I worry about. You're all I worry about, love. And then finally, roommate responds back saying, I'm much more worried about you. It seems a little weird. Only thing I can think of. Okay. Only thing I can think of. Now, I haven't heard anything about Andy. I haven't heard anything about the father receiving the reward. And if he did receive the reward, I don't know what he did with the reward. So that's news to me. But the only thing I can think of that would suffice this whole situation, okay, is that when he got back home, there was no conversation on text, because I think that Lance Twigs started freaking out and he started realizing, well, all this could come back to me. This is all evidence now. He just confessed to me. And this is all evidence. So I ain't saying nothing. My name's Bennett and I ain't in it. Hands off. Tyler comes back home. They must have had a conversation. Then hours later, several hours later, parents start calling him, honey, Ty, was that you? What do you mean, Ma? Where? Were you at that event? Mom, I'm home. I'm sick. Right? Dad gets on the phone and confronts him. Finally, he's like, yes, I did it, because he couldn't show proof of the rifle right then and there, because the rifle is in the hands of the popo. Twigs, I'm sure at this point, was like maybe there talking to him, but also maybe not wanting to have anything to do with him. I don't know. But it seems so very strange that there's no dialogue between him and his main squeeze for a good minute here. Look, as soon as he says, the roommate says, how long you been planning this? He's like, a bit over a week, I believe. I could get close to it. And he's talking about the rifle because he's like, damn, I need to get that rifle. Right? I need to get to that rifle. If they get that rifle, they'll be able to get it back to my grandpa, and then they'll do the reverse math and it'll come back to me. Damn. Right? So he's hyper-focused and scared out of his mind because he knows it's coming to him. So eventually, like I said before, 5-0 was going to figure it out. 5-0 was going to do the you know what I mean? They're going to do the long division, carry the 1 divisible by 2, and figure out the sum of the situation. And that sum would have been Tyler Robinson. Because they had the rifle, all they had to do is run the serial number, know that number is to his grandpa, go give that grandpa a good heart attack. And then he would finally have to be like, no, it's me. I did it. It was me. Stop with my grandpa. It was me. Right? Eventually that would have had to have happened. Right? But instead, parents were able to pick him out of those photographs. Like our friend Chris on Crime. Okay. Brilliant woman. She had a very good point. She said, I have a feeling it's going to be the parents that are going to be able to point out who this kid is. Because I don't know about you, but I know my kid from anywhere. She said, I could point that kid out in the middle of a crowded room. I'll be like, a crowded space. That's my kid right there. And that's exactly what happened here. So maybe Twigs wasn't playing, wasn't having it. Maybe Twigs has nothing to do with it, but maybe Twigs does. Let's talk about that, shall we? This is some wild stuff, y'all. We are living in some wild times, and I'm telling you right now, this is not how we should be living our lives. Okay, I feel like we have literally, I feel like we've flown into a different universe. Okay, and yes, I know I'm throwing some humor into the mix of this. Okay, but we are living in some very, excuse me, we are living in some very, very bad times. And I'm hoping that we find a way to transcend from this situation. And yeah, I feel, not a bot, Brittany. I feel like we've definitely jumped timelines. Okay. You want to know why I feel like we've jumped timelines? Because I am actually listening to Candace Owens. I'm kidding. Actually, the reason why we are I feel like we've jumped timelines is because everything is so quick to resort to the pew pew. And that we have somebody, which, like I've said a million times before, I didn't agree with what he had to say. Okay. But he shouldn't have lost his life this way at all. Okay. Really. No one should lose their life because they have opinions. Just like the likes of Candace Owens, Ben Shapiro, anybody who's more on the right, right? The Candace Owens, the Matt Walshes, the Ben Shapiros, the Tim Pools, all of them, okay, should be very concerned about this igniting something out there that could cause other people to lose their lives. And I'm even saying the people on the left. It's just that if you notice, at least from what I've noticed, there are a lot of people on the right that have been kind of more prominent stars on the right. Conservative voices definitely are out there, thrust into in the forefront of the political commentator voices. Now, I'm not sitting here saying that there aren't left, okay, that there aren't left voices out there. There's plenty. But if you notice, there's more stars that are put out there in the conservative side. So that's why I say that they have to be very concerned. And I'm talking about stars that are on the microphone. I'm not talking about stars that are like political activists or, like what I mean is like politically elected officials or anything of that sort. I'm talking about the voices that are out here on a microphone, on a podcast, making their money, putting words together with their mouths. Yeah. So again, I think that's why I feel like we jump timelines, that we are in this weird world where, one, our kids can't even be safe to go to school. We always have that fear in the back of our minds that some lunatic is going to pick up an AR or an AK and run in and start brah. And that is a fear that we all have to live with. And that's crazy. But also that we have somebody who is talking on a microphone, having debates with people, whether you liked his style or not, that doesn't mean that that person should have been erased from this planet. And what's wild to me is that we are looking at it in so many different ways. But one thing is very surprising right now is what I've been hearing, what I heard from Candace Owens in her show. Yes, I sat through and I watched the whole damn thing. Yes, I did. And let me be real. I do listen to her show. Not all of them. Okay, not all of them. No. But I do listen to her show. Okay, especially if the things that I'm covering cross her path. You know what I mean? If we intertwine in some way, I'll listen to her stuff for sure. Okay. But she did say something, and I feel like there's a lot of people on the right and on the left that are all reacting the same way. That this could very well be a fugazi. That this could very well be fake. And I don't blame them for feeling that way. That they're feeling like there's some sort of cover-up going on. Now, I don't know about all of the stuff that she says. But one thing is for sure, it does seem a bit weird. One thing that she says here in this part is that she had a conversation with Lance Twiggs' family, with one of the members of his family. And even his family members are saying they are not buying it. Let's take a look at this. This is interesting, y'all.
Lance, they told us, went to live with his relatives, so no longer in the house with his mother and father. Again, allegedly. His parents kicked him out junior year of high school because he was problematic. He just had issues. And at that time when they kicked him out, that wasn't exactly what they are saying legal for them to have done that. But again, he went to live with relatives and he has issues. They say that he allegedly has a lot of issues with drinking. That Christmas, approximately 3 years ago, he almost overdosed. He drank a bottle of vodka. They are telling me that they were there. They were present for this. And fear began to spread about whether or not even the family would be able to take care of him because of issues that he was having. Okay, he graduates high school, and then essentially the extended family says, we can't keep you in our home because of his behavior. Just this past Easter Sunday, they are telling me that he showed up on drugs and he was spouting out of his mouth about political stuff. And at this point, they felt that he could not be around children.
Here it is. You heard that, right? That this guy, Lance Twiggs, was out there spouting all kinds of crazy political and crazy stuff to his family, high as hell. You heard that, right? Okay, we're going to continue, but I'm just saying she's talking about Lance Twiggs. She ain't talking about Ty. She talking about them twigs.
They felt that he had become increasingly more radical, increasingly more dangerous, and just sort of off the rails. They said that they're unhappy that the media is presenting him in this like manner, like he's just this kind of like soft guy, or like, a person that was just transitioning. There's like nothing problematic. There's no prodding. They don't buy the story. Okay. Lance's family is telling me that they are not buying the current story and that they feel that more people are involved.
There it is again. Now, don't worry. We are going to continue with the conversation here, or what she got to say. But real quick, I just want to point this out. Okay. First and foremost, I definitely think there's more people involved in this situation. Sorry. I really do think that there are more people involved in this situation. Okay. I think whoever she talked to, okay, she says that she heard. These are the moments when you wish that that person, that family member, whatever, was coming onto the show to say that, like, with the camera in their face. You know what I mean? But nonetheless, I still think that he did not operate alone. I really think that there's more to this than just him. She's going to talk a little bit more about the cars pulling up. Remember the cars, the rumor about the cars pulling up with different license plates from different states, okay? Several weeks before all this went down. That I just really don't think this kid did this all by himself. I really don't. And I need to hear more to prove me otherwise. But my theory still remains. He did not operate this whole thing by himself. You also hear that, and again, this is just what she's heard through the grapevine. You know what I mean? She's hearing that, hey, Lance has some issues too. Definitely some issues. So much that we heard this too before. I want you to remember this. We heard from another article that Lance was known as the black sheep of his own family for whatever reason. Now we're starting to put those two pieces together. We're starting to do the math, get everything, put two and two together. And now we're understanding, oh, okay, he was the black sheep of his family because he definitely has some severe psychological issues and clearly has a battle. He's battling addiction of various kinds, okay, of different kinds of substances. But he also is radical as well. He also has opinions about things that are going on. And imagine this, you in love with this particular person. There's a whole lot of pillow talk that's going on, y'all. There's a whole lot of pillow talk going on. And no, I'm not sitting here saying, because there's some people out here that are trying to dress it up like, oh, this was just love. This was just his way of showing love. This was a love letter to his lover, trying to say, I did this for you for love. Okay, hold on. It might be. Maybe that's what started it. But that's not how it finished. That's what I think. Really? There's a lot of pillow talk. You mean to tell me he's not having this pillow talk? That kind of pillow talk? The stuff that's being spewed into his ear. Okay? This is very Hamlet. Okay? I put thy poison in thy ear. Right? You mean to tell me all that was being spilled into his ears just came out of just from being on the internet? If these claims are true that Candace Owens is spouting from an alleged family member, that he got that inspiration from somewhere. And it could very well be from Twigs. Now, I'm not sitting here saying that he has something to do with it, but I'm not saying that he didn't have something to do with this whole thing. Two things could be true at the same time. One, he could have just said these things, spouting off all this rhetoric, this anger, this whatever frustration that he had towards the right. Let's just say that. I'm just going to make a blanketed statement here, okay? It could be very broad, right? So maybe he had these feelings and thoughts about the right, and he's just going off and off. You know what I mean? He's around somebody who's willing to listen to him. Twigs, I'm saying. And what is this guy doing? What is Tyler doing? Being a listening ear and just consuming to the point where he believes it, to the point where he's radicalized, to the point where he's like, how dare he say those things about my love? Possible. Then also he's diving into the internet, looking into more things, doing his research, going on to Reddit, going into these chat forums, having more conversations with other people. Maybe Twigs is introducing him to new areas as well. Quite possibly. It's possible. That could be it. And then he just went off on his own, you know. His madness grew. And it's like Dr. Frankenstein with his monster. That Lance inspired, pushed the sailboat down this particular stream, and it grew on its own and turned into its own monster. That's possible. Right? Or Lance said a bunch of things. It got Tyler upset too, to the point where he felt like he needed to take matters into his own hands, be the hero, and he did what he did. Anything's possible. Anything's possible. So again, I think we all have questions, but it literally can be it could be two different things. One, he did this because he wanted to be Prince Valiant, okay? Like I said, I am good, my love. I am safe and good, my love. Make sure to have a chalice full of mead as I come back with my horse and put him in my steed. I don't know why that rhymed, but you know what I'm saying, right? And we shall celebrate in merriment. Yes. Well, like they're LARPing or something. You know what I mean? It's a little bit like that. Just kind of, sort of, a little bit like that. You feel me? Now, it could be absolutely 110% that. This could be fake. Those text messages could be fake to create some sort of dialogue to protect who? I don't know. Or it's LARPing. I'm sorry. They could be LARPing, okay? Or Lance is involved. Period, point blank. Those are all the possible. There's so many possibilities. Or something sinister. He got paid by somebody overseas to do this thing. Okay, they've been talking about connections with Israel. Okay, Israel. Okay, there's been a lot of conversation about that as well. That's possible too. And they're trying to cover it up and make it seem like this is just a man in love with his roommate / boyfriend / transgender / furry friend. I don't know. Anything's possible. But those text messages are questionable for sure. Let's continue.
First and foremost, they say that a lot of information should be able to be discerned by his devices because he was, according to them, deep web. Okay. This is the person that is deep on the internet. They said that he was quite reclusive, that he was always on his devices, that he's always on the web, and that there should be more information that comes from there. Okay. He turned 22, they told me, back in August, and that he was, as I said, very into this dark web stuff. I asked what he was doing for work. Like, how are they even able to pay you guys rent? And they told me that he was doing some plumbing work with somebody else in the family. They told us that Tyler and him had been living together for at least a year, that they had not met Tyler, despite the fact that Lance had wanted to foster that meeting.
You heard that, right? One thing is for sure, Tyler definitely wanted to claim his man. That's it. Wanted to claim his man. Allegedly, this is all coming from a family member, okay, of Lance. But he wanted to claim his man. That's my man, right? This is what we're gathering now. He definitely wanted to put together a meeting so that he could show his family, meet his boyfriend. So they were serious. Clearly, if they're living together, this is some serious ish. Okay. So again, very interesting.
That the two of them, this couple, Tyler and Lance, were living in that townhome that is owned by Lance's family, and that Tyler was paying rent to Lance, and Lance then, of course, was forwarding that payment to them. Now, I had asked them about another persistent rumor that is arriving in my inbox, which people are saying who live in the neighborhood that they noticed some unusual traffic. And this individual family member said to me, yup, we are hearing the exact same thing.
Here we go.
That they would prod that narrative further. But there was some unusual traffic, a lot of cars that were seen outside leading up to the shooting in the days before the shooting or the week before this shooting. I'll straighten out that timeline for you and get real specific because I will pin down when exactly this was happening. But leading up to the shooting, that there were unusual traffic in the driveway where Tyler Robinson and Lance lived. Cars that were not recognized in the neighborhood. This was not a couple that hosted people. It wasn't like they were expecting them to have parties. And so other people are saying that is something that struck them as odd. There was unusual traffic at this house in the weeks leading up to this shooting. And again, I will perfect that timeline of exactly when. And I have gone out to people for evidence of that. But there were apparently lots of different license plates, and it therefore caused a little neighborhood kerfluffle because other people were not able to park their cars because there were so many people that were at this house. Unusual traffic. Again, we are prodding that narrative. We are taking a look at everybody because if I don't feel good about what we're hearing, okay, and Lance Twig's family doesn't feel good about what we're hearing, and we've got Decoy Boy, who's apparently involved in some deep internet stuff, I would say is a fair way to describe it. Decoy Boy, okay, George Zinn.
Yeah, we got to talk about George Zinn again.
There's more people involved. That's what I'm going to say to you guys. There is very clearly more people involved. Okay. This feels to me like a conspiracy.
Okay. I got to hit the button for that. Woo! Soul Train. Let me just say this really quick. All right. Like I said, this is the first time in a very long time that I've been like, okay, Candace Owens has a good point here. But I also feel like she has a good point because she's leaning on information that she's getting from a source, right? She's getting information from a family member who is not buying this. You got somebody who's already radicalized in that house. Let me repeat that again. You got a boyfriend, Twigs, who's already feeling some type of way in that house already. And you got somebody else who's very quiet, not very, at the surface, at least while growing up, wasn't super political, right? But then suddenly he meets the person of his dreams. He's looking at this person being like, oh, this is going to be my forever person. I am smitten. I am in love, right? And then all of a sudden, he starts getting all this information poured into his ear, into his brain. He's going on Reddit. He's going on all these platforms. And then, of course, maybe that infectious whatever starts to take over. Now, both things could be true. He radicalized in love, and he did what he did. Or he had some group of people that were helping him do what he did. Now, I'm leaning more on that, to be completely real, because you got people out here that are doing exactly what I'm doing too, side-eyeing the hell out of the situation that happened directly after Tyler allegedly pulled the trigger. Okay. Now I got to pull this up so we can get this. Just want to make sure we have this because it just doesn't make any sense. Okay. Now I understand we can all put mental health on the table. Mental health is definitely on the table. I'm sorry, and this is not an excuse. I'm not trying to make an excuse for anything. Let me just say that, make that abundantly clear. First and foremost, there's definitely mental health literally blanketed all over this thing. Because if you're willing to go plot out taking the life of somebody who just literally just talks on a microphone, we're just talking on the literal sense, not about how he affects people viscerally, okay, or intellectually. I'm talking about just straight up what he did. What he did for a living is he talked on a microphone. He had a radio show. He had a podcast. He would go out and do these segments. Okay, he would prove me wrong segments, and he did his thing. People had some serious disdain for him, but then there was also a lot of love that man had too. All because he was literally on a microphone. And that's not me trying to downsize what he does. Okay, I'm on a microphone. Candace Owens is on a microphone. Tim Pool's on a microphone. Kyle Kalinske is on a microphone. Okay. All of these people. Don Lemon, every single anchor on every single legacy news media platform are on microphones, right? And they all somewhat put in their, depending on the platform, okay, they all put in their 2 cents about what's going on in the world. It could definitely radicalize somebody so much that they're obsessed to go out there, buy a weapon, get their hands on a weapon, and then pull the trigger on you. Now, that's insane. That is some serious mental health issues. To plot that out and then to exact that thing, okay? That is terrifying and it's messed up. And that should never happen to anybody. What happened to Charlie Kirk? So in other words, this guy's crazy, Tyler Robinson, for what he did. And some are thinking that he did it for the glory of love. And some others are sitting there going, no, there's something else. He got paid to do this or something else. I don't know the answer for that yet. I don't. Because I know some people are not happy with the idea that this was done out of love. We're going to talk about that in just a minute. But first, we got to talk about George Zinn. Let's talk about that. The man who was falsely accused of actually pulling out the pew-pew and doing this whole thing to Charlie Kirk, he apparently was saying this to distract the police from the real shooter. Riddle me this, Batman. You mean to tell me they are not working in tandem with each other? Not at all. Dude pulls trigger. Whole world goes crazy. Whole world in that area. That whole area goes crazy. Yeah. And then he goes, I did it. Right over here. Yeah, the guy that kind of reminds you of Larry David. Right here. I did it. I pulled the trigger. Take me in. Beam me up, Scotty. I'm ready to go. Yeah, he really did say this. Don't worry, we're going to look at this. But again, he falsely claimed this so he could distract the police from the real assailant. Make that make sense. 71-year-old man who was briefly detained moments after the assassination of Charlie Kirk tried to help the suspected monster escape by faking a confession, authorities say. Utah County Sheriff Smith said George Zinn admitted to police that he had, quote unquote, yelled that he was the monster, the assailant, to allow the actual suspect to flee. Sorry. The prime suspect, of course, we already know, is Tyler Robinson, who appeared to say to text his roommate / boyfriend, okay, that the police had, quote unquote, grabbed some crazy old dude. Okay. I was born during the day, but I wasn't born yesterday. So take a look at this. You got a guy who obviously somebody pulled the trigger. This man says, it was me. Okay. It was me. He gets arrested. And he goes, ha ha ha. I thwarted you guys once again. Ha ha. It was not me. So they let him go. Of course, he gets a charge with obstruction of justice, because who does that? Who goes out of their way to do something like that? Think about it for a second. Just think about it for a second. Use your brain. I love y'all because y'all are freaking brilliant. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. You little smart little son of a gun. You smart. I'm pinching your cheek right here. Okay. But here it is. You got a guy who went out of his way to say that it was him. Why would he do that? Okay. We could put two things on the table. And it's in three things, actually. Because he's crazy. That's number one. Because he has something to do with this and he's a co-conspirator. Or three, he's crazy and he's a co-conspirator. So that's basically C, all the above, right? So A, he's just straight up knucking futz. 2, B, he has something to do with this. Or C, all the above. I lean on C, all the above. Just a little bit. There was another guy that was arrested that looked a lot like the guy, apparently, right? There's an old man that was walking down the street as well with a pellet rifle, walking down the street, okay, as well. Now, I don't know if they have all of this information, okay? But at the same time, I didn't say anything about Israel. I said that that people are talking about Israel. I'm not spreading any lies, but moving on. They're just saying that. I don't know if that's true or not. I don't know. All I know is that we're living in some crazy times. But moving on. Why would this guy go out of his way to say this? Why would he go out of his way to get arrested? That's a lot of energy. That's a lot of time to be putting out there to get arrested. Again, I repeat, why? Why would he do this? You got three choices, A, B, or C. I'm leaning towards C. C. I think that he's involved. I truly think that there are more people involved in this situation. I just need to see more proof to solidify my theory. And no, I don't think I'm wearing a tinfoil hat. It's literally a coinky dink that he would do that right. Okay, let me just say this really quick, all right? Because there's other things that happened at that tragedy, at ground zero, right when the shot went off, that just don't make any sense. First, you got this guy. He says, I did it. There was another guy who stood up and he was raising his hands in the air, pumping, cheering the fact that Charlie Kirk got hit, which was insane, right? Insane. Okay? When a shot goes off like that and you see pandemonium, what are you initially doing? Now, I can answer this for you. You're running. You're running for your life. You're not pumping your hands up in the air. And now I'm not sitting here saying that guy has anything to do with it. I'm just saying you got to be some level of like cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs to be willing to say, hey, I did that. Or to be standing up and pumping your fist in the air in a jubilant gesture after somebody just got murked. I'm running. Okay? And if I'm with friends and family, I'm pushing them, carrying them. I'm doing whatever I can do, right? I'm doing everything I can do to get the hell out of that situation and all my loved ones away from the situation. I'm not turning to the police and saying, it was me. Are you? Okay. I doubt it. So that doesn't make sense. This right here doesn't make sense. Clearly, I think the guy who was pumping his fist in the air and super excited about this guy getting hit, that's obviously there's something wrong. There's something wrong with you. Oh, that's definitely something wrong with you, for sure. And you need to go talk to somebody because something's not right with you either. Because who pumps their fist in the air at ground zero? That's trauma. You're being traumatized, and I'd be scared out of my freaking mind. And I'm running. I'm looking for shelter. I'm looking for somewhere to run and hide and cover and make sure my loved ones or my friends or whoever is at that event with me that are safe as well. Not going, hey, 5-0, it's me. I did it. Ha, ha, ha. I don't do that. I wouldn't do that. Neither would you. Okay? Level-minded individuals aren't thinking about that. Level-minded individuals are not thinking like that unless they have something to do with it. Just saying. Just saying. Now, I feel like this is the modern day JFK. Real talk. And I know, I'm just saying the act. I know, I'm not sitting here, I'm not trying to compare him to JFK. I'm talking about the actual, his life being taken and how it has gone off the rails as far as theories and thoughts. And if the feds, if the government is covering it up, it's giving JFK when he lost his life. Very much. You know, the theories has been, they're saying that there was 15 different bullets that went through, and you know what I mean? All the crazy theories that JFK's demise fostered, right? And I feel like we're getting into that area too, okay? But again, like I said, this individual, they better be asking him all kinds of questions. Oh, and let's not forget, this piece of trash as well is now looking at some serious time because they found content on his phone that shouldn't be on his phone of littles. So he getting what's coming to him, okay? And maybe he'll confess, but it seems so odd that a crazy mother lover like himself would be at that event. This is the same guy who was sending emails saying that he was going to drop boom booms. He was going to plant boom booms at the Salt Lake City Marathon a few years back. This is also another guy. This guy, the same dude, has been at other events and other situations that are tragic. He's been around those areas. He has a laundry list of issues and a laundry list of charges because of the things that he's done or that he's threatened to do. And then he's at this event, and then he's the one who says it was me. It just doesn't make sense anymore to me, guys. It just doesn't make any sense. To me, it seems like there's got to be some sort of connection here. And I could be crazy. But I'm waiting and hoping that they're going to give us more information. And they say that they're like, yes, the investigation is still ongoing. You got to understand, people, folks. You got to understand, we're still working on the investigation. And when we get more information, we'll let you know. The investigation is still brand new, still very fresh. And we're doing the investigation as best as we can. As soon as we find out, we'll let you know. Okay, I'm waiting. But something seems weird. Something definitely seems weird. Now, there's a lot of stuff that's going on. And let me get some of these super chats here real quick. All right. Imogen. Hopefully I'm saying that right. Thank you so much for the super chat. How would he know about the old man so soon? That's the other thing I was going to ask. Thank you so much for bringing that up. He might have been watching live streams. He may have been watching a whole thing online. He could have been watching things on X, just constantly refreshing. Apparently, he was sitting around waiting for cops to get away, to leave the area so that he could go back and get the rifle. So he stuck around that area for a minute. You got to remember, too, that he allegedly changed his clothes. He changed his clothes after he discarded the rifle. Or while he was discarding the rifle, he changed clothes. So he could have been, you know what I mean? They're not looking for him. They're looking, they weren't looking for what he was wearing. Or they were looking for exactly what he was wearing at that time, dark clothing. He wasn't wearing dark clothing when he was around. So he could have been standing around people, the public, and just being like, texting his man, being like, yo, I'm still trying to find this rifle. I still need to get back to that rifle. That could be it, right? That wasn't released until much later, unless Twigs told him. Old man also had CP. Yep, I just talked about that, but thank you so much for the information. Maybe Lance did say something to him. We don't know. The text message exchange, like I said, feels like a Tyler Perry script, okay? A lot of exposition, not a whole lot of story. Moving on, though, okay? And don't get me wrong, there's some really great Tyler Perry movies out there, but there's some movies that you're just like, bro, you are explaining way too much, right? Thank God I don't have my man anymore, because now that we're divorced and he's with the maid now, and they got 3 more kids after mine, but I'm happy I'm single, right? And you're like, damn, we just got 5 seconds into the movie and you're saying all of this? Thank you. But I think we would have figured it out if we just watched the movie. But you single now. All right. Man went off and was stooping the maid. Okay, and they together now. Thank you so much for that information, right? They play it like we're dumb. And it almost seems like that dialogue between him and Twigs is like they are playing us like we're dumb. You know what I mean? Thank God I'm, it's like, thank God I don't eat pistachios anymore. I have a nut allergy. You know what I mean? It's like that, You get it? And then they use the nut allergy at the end of the movie, and that's how the guy died. You know what I'm talking about, okay? Thank God I have a vicious allergic reaction to pistachios. So thank God there's no pistachios in this meal. And then in the movie he dies, and then it's a whole whodunit, all to only know that he ate somebody poisoned him with pistachios. You know what I'm saying? It's dumb. It's dumb, but it's real. Check out any Tubi movie. There's a lot of that. A lot of exposition, not a whole lot of story. Moving on. Bluebird, thank you so much. If you ever seen how police officers write, they sure as ish aren't doing this type of dialogue. Yeah, they're not. They're not used to it, I guess, right? They're not used to that type. They're not used to that kind of dialogue. Can you tell? I'm kidding. Like I said, there's a lot of I got questions. Okay. Vix, thank you, Vix Blore. Thank you so much for the love. I appreciate you laughing. I appreciate you enjoying the conversation. Thank you. Just me, your sense of humor is feeling fine. Yeah, it's feeling pretty good. Thank God for Dayquil. I'm gonna be real. Thank God for Dayquil. All right. Beautiful messy ball. Thank you so much. The ellipses between messages implies messages removed. See that? Okay. Okay, I'm not crazy. I thought that the ellipses between those things were showing like time, you know what I mean? Time. You know what I mean? An expansion of time, like sometime later, he sends another text message. So yes, this definitely, like, I gotta be real. There's definitely some sort of redaction here. Why did they redact? I don't know. It's ridiculous. That's what I think. But moving on. S-Dubs, what's up? Thank you. If you don't agree with Charlie, then just debate. Or if you didn't agree with Charlie, just debate him. I agree, right? There are some very educated people who have been successful, but only if you are a believer. But only if you are a believer. Wait a second. There are some very educated people who have been successful, but only if you are a believer. I don't understand that last part, but I do agree, right, that instead of pulling the pew, all you had to do was just debate the guy, right? Or if you don't agree with him and you didn't like what he had to say, you didn't have to listen to him. That's the freedom that we have. It's not like we're supposed to listen to what he has to say every single day, right? You choose to, like I said, I choose to listen to Candace Owens from time to time. I don't listen to her every day, but there's every once in a while, like especially with the Macron lawsuit, I'm listening to her because I want to hear her thoughts and hear what's going on, right? But she's not somebody I seek out. Like, oh, I haven't heard her show in 3 days. Let me catch up. Nah, that's not me. But I know there's a lot of people out there that are like that, right? But if you don't like Candace Owens, you have the freedom to not listen to her. Just like if you don't like any of these other people, Kyle Kalinske, and all these other left-wing commentators, right, and pundits, you don't have to listen to them at all. Listen to whatever you want to listen to. But I also say, please listen to other sides of the coin. Hear what's going on in the world so you can come together, come up with your own opinions. Use that critical thinking brain of yours. Exercise that muscle, okay? And not just become something that is, you're just hearing some echo chamber every single day and just spouting out what the echo chamber is saying. We are not a hive mind. We are all individuals that we all dance to our own little beat, okay? Some are faster than others. It's okay. But like I said, take the time to listen to different voices. And that's what I do. Okay. Because After some time, you hear one side a bunch and you're like, oh God, it just sounds the same. So I like to be entertained with my brain and hear what they have to say. Sometimes I'm yelling at the phone too. You're an idiot. I agree. I disagree. You know what I mean? That kind of stuff. It happens. But you're listening to them and going, okay, that's their thought. I can see that angle. That's interesting. I don't agree. Or I can see that angle. I kind of do agree. It does change my opinion. Just a thought. Moving on, though. Bluebird, thank you so much for the love. Texts are not an extraction. It's not an extraction, not quote unquote released extrajudicially by the prosecution or law enforcement. They are included in the probable cause statement filed to support the charges in the case. So maybe we'll get the full thing later. Maybe that's what's going to happen. I hope so. Bluebird, again, thank you so much for being a member for the past month. I appreciate it. LOL, I've been a member in the past, but thank you so much for all you do, Pascal. Always enjoy the conversation and the humor over here. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for the love. Miss Rue, thank you so much for becoming a member. Welcome. And just like Miss Rue, please consider becoming a member by hitting that join button down below. We ain't done yet, so stick around. We got some more. I'm just trying to knock out some of these super chats, okay? Miss Rue, again, thank you so much for the love. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for the super chat. I've been watching you since Diddy trial. Thank you. And I'm sorry. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you for keeping us informed. Of course, this is what I do. I love what I do. Okay. Crime Chronicles, what's up? Thank you so much. Pascal, how do you feel about the screwdriver on the roof, but then the pew-pew found intact? It's weird. It's very weird. And the other thing is, too, what would he need the screwdriver for up there if he was limping because he had the weapon in his leg, his pant leg, limping, walking up to the area? So that's a part that doesn't make any sense to me as well. Unless he just wanted to make sure everything was nice and tight. He's just like screwing those things in nice and tight to make sure that his sights are on point and all that. That's possible too. But he left it behind like a dummy. And thank God he was dumb, right? Thank God he was dumb. Tony, thank you so much for the love. GZ is now charged with, yes, we just talked about that. Yes, with the CP. Yes, bad stuff for him. Thank God. Eddie, thank you so much, Eddie. I appreciate the super sticker. Thank you so very much. Now, here's the thing. Some people are reacting to this situation. And I want to share this as well. Okay. I don't think that this has anything to do with some outside sources. I truly think that this is a contained situation, because I know they've been going hard in the paint on like maybe there's some deep, murderous, trans cell of people, like this weird radicalized thing. I don't think that it's that. I think that there's a group of people that didn't like Charlie Kirk, and so they came together to try to make this thing happen. That's what I think so far, but everything's subject to change. But we are hearing other people, other sides reacting to this, and reacting in a way that a lot of people are having a very visceral reaction to. Take a listen.
We have seen an alleged murder with such specific text messages about the alleged murder weapon, where it was hidden, how it was placed, what was on it, but also it was very touching in a way that I think many of us didn't expect. A very intimate portrait into this relationship between the suspect's roommate and the suspect himself, with him repeatedly calling his roommate, who was transitioning, calling him my love, and I want to protect you, my love. So it was this duality of someone who the attorney said not only jeopardized the life of Charlie Kirk and the crowd, but was doing it in front of children, which is one of the aggravating circumstances of this case. And on the other hand, he was, speaking so lovingly about his partner. So,
okay, first off, I gotta hit this. Okay, this is the tough thing, because I said myself, could it be that this guy was doing this out of love? Love, right? He was doing this out of love. I think it's a combination of the two. Do I think this is a touching conversation that he's having? Hell to the no. This ain't touching at all. He says, yes, I am fine, my love. Then later on, way later, he says, I'm just worried about you, love, or something like that. All I can think about is you, love, or something like that. All he said is that at the end. Other than that, he was like, my rifle, my rifle, my rifle. Oh my God, my rifle, my rifle, my rifle. Oh my God. That's all he was talking about. He wasn't like, oh, I love how your Lord Farquaad haircut just billows in the wind, my love. He doesn't say that. He's sitting there going, man, I got this and I got that. And the cops are still around and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I was thinking about this for a couple weeks. That's what I was doing. Thank God that $2,000 scope worked out. Winky, winky face. He wasn't sitting there going, my love. Oh, my love. Yes, come hither. Once I come back home, shall cover you with nothing but my love, my adoration for you, my love. Can't wait to put my hands through your Lord Farquaad haircut and look lovingly into your eyes and say, man. No, not at all. I didn't see it as a loving interaction. He said my love in the beginning and he said love at the end. And that's all he said. I'm sorry. I don't see it like that. But I don't think this guy should lose his job for saying what he said. Okay? I don't think he should, you know what I mean? He said what he said. That is his reaction. His reaction is that. If that is his reaction, that should be okay. You remember freedom of speech? Diggity damn. I'm just saying. He shouldn't be in trouble for saying what he said. I don't agree with it. Hell to the no. I don't agree with this at all. Okay? I don't agree with it at all. But that was his knee-jerk reaction. And he's saying this was out of love. Yes, fully out of love for you. My love with the Lord Farquaad haircut. Yes. Here's the thing, guys. Here's the thing that is really throwing me off. There's a lot of people that are losing their jobs right now. Okay? There are a lot of people that are losing their jobs for putting out their thoughts about what happened to Charlie Kirk. Now, I don't think all of them should have lost their jobs. I think the ones that are sitting there doing cartwheels for doggone, you know what I mean? The ones that are doing cartwheels and rejoicing and all that stuff. I mean, you're getting what you get, bro. Okay, you shouldn't be out here doing cartwheels celebrating the passing of a prominent figure in the conservative field, in this conservative sphere. You should not be, right? But I also do believe in being able to say what you want to say, the freedom of speech thing. I do now understand that there are a lot of people, allegedly there's a list growing where people are starting to get their names put on this list where the government is going to be looking at these people because of what they've said online about Charlie Kirk and his passing. I think there's got to be a better way for us to express ourselves, to get our point across, but to also not be damning towards somebody who lost their life. Like I said, I don't agree with what he had to say, but he shouldn't have lost his life. He shouldn't have. And here's the other thing, too. There are so many other people on this planet that say far worse things. Somebody like this should not have lost his life. He was on the microphone, and that's all he did. And yeah, I do feel like, well, freedom of speech has been dying. It has been dying. Haven't you noticed that? We out here, we're saying certain things. We can't say certain things. If we do say certain things, then that gets us in trouble. Shoot, now we have a right-winged cancel culture going on right now. We really do. The right now is canceling people for having their opinions about what happened. Like I said, I don't agree with it, but they have a right to say what they want to say, don't they? So again, very, very interesting stuff here. Hold on, guys. Just a second. Just checking something here real quick. Oh, wow. There's another presser? Stop.
On his own, I'm gonna make some concessions to make that happen.
And what was his mood when you first saw him?
Hold on. I'm rolling this back. I can't play this whole thing, but apparently there's a presser going on. Apparently there's a press conference going on. They're giving updates on the Charlie Kirk suspect. What the hell's going on? I'm just showing you this just so you see proof positive. Okay. You know, Christina, that's where it gets funky. That's a damn good question. That's a damn good question, right? Because you can't have the yin without the yang, right? Unfortunately, if you say freedom of speech, then it says freedom of speech, right? Oh, I'm going to show it. I just can't show the whole thing because I got things to do, guys. Like I said, but I'll play a little bit of this so you guys can see what I'm seeing. But yeah, freedom of speech, it sucks. Because don't get me wrong, I don't like hearing the stuff that people are saying. You know what I mean? A certain size of the world are saying. There needs to be better things, better ways. I wish everybody was good people, but unfortunately, we don't live in that world. You know, it just sucks. But now you notice the right is now starting to cancel people who are saying things. It's crazy. It's crazy. And like I said, I don't agree with what these people are saying. I just wish everybody would learn how to speak in a more loving and more diplomatic way. Let's take a listen to what's going on here. I can't play the whole thing, unfortunately, guys, but let's rock and roll for just a minute.
Up at UVU. So that's about it.
Sheriff, how would you characterize that former law enforcement friend of yours as doing something good here?
Yeah, outstanding. He deserves full credit. I think that a lot of it's just the community relations, right? So Tyler's family trusted this individual. They knew he was involved in law enforcement at some point. And
I'm going to roll it back a little bit so we understand a little bit more. Hold on.
it was about a 2.5 hour of a SWAT team hit on his house, or he was fearful of being shot by law enforcement. So part of the negotiation and getting him to bring himself in was that we would treat it as delicate and as soft as possible to make him feel comfortable to where he would show up at my office, and that's exactly what happened. So since we weren't the lead agency, basically it was about a 2.5 hour waiting in a room, not communicating with the suspect. Our job was not to interview. Our job was just to get him here. So after about 2.5 hours, we ended up getting federal agents and state agents in, and some of my detectives were asked to go out into the community and secure 2 locations. So the parents' home and the apartment that Tyler was living in, along with the vehicle that Tyler was likely driving up at UVU. So that's about it.
Sheriff, how would you characterize that former law enforcement friend of yours as doing something good here?
Yeah, outstanding. He deserves full credit. I think that a lot of it's just the community relations, right? So Tyler's family trusted this individual. They knew he was involved in law enforcement at some point, and enough community involvement there that they trusted that they could go to this individual and he could contact me directly, and that we could facilitate a peaceful, calm, relaxed surrender, if put it that way, right? Make him comfortable for a couple hours, make sure he has water, no communication until the lead investigators arrived. So.
Sheriff, you mentioned you got a call from a retired detective. What went through your mind in that moment when he told you what was about to happen? How did you negotiate with Tyler or his family?
So
What were your first impressions when?
so shock, right? So I like I said, I couldn't imagine the conversation that occurred in that minute and 41-second conversation. But there was negotiation. There was some criteria that needed to be met for him to voluntarily come in, and I agreed to those terms.
What did he ask for? Can I ask?
He basically for a peaceful, gentle, comfortable transition for him to come out. Again, he knew he was going to get caught. He didn't want a big SWAT team hitting his parents' house or his apartment. He was truly fearful of being shot by law enforcement. So that the conditions were as relaxed and comfortable and almost to the point of, inviting. And if at the end of the day, we accomplish him surrendering peacefully on his own, I'm gonna make some concessions to make that happen.
And what was his mood when you first saw him?
I would describe it as quiet and somber. So not talkative, just no. Go ahead.
I think that's his demeanor, though.
Reports that his family friend was also potentially a youth pastor or connected to the church. Is that the same
No,
person?
no church leadership, just an association through the religious.
Was it somebody in the board, LDS board?
Yeah, I would say that, but not in leadership. Unfortunately, the bishop of that ward has been drug into it because of some of the media reporting. But that's not accurate. That's not accurate.
Oh, about the bishop.
Yeah, the bishop wasn't involved in this.
But you're not releasing the identity then of the family.
No, absolutely not.
If you could speak to it, did the sheriff's office have any interaction with Tyler Robinson in previous incidents?
I've been asked that a few times. So it's well known. It's in the media. Tyler's apartment was in St. George city limits. The parents' home was in Washington city limits. So since the sheriff's office is primarily patrolling small rural communities, the unincorporated areas of the county, if there were any calls to the residents in St. George city, the highest probability that just St. George city would handle that, not the sheriff's office. So I don't have any data that would support that one way or the other.
Sheriff, have you interviewed his roommate, Robinson's roommate?
No, we're not the lead investigators, so we wouldn't be doing that.
Dang.
How would you characterize the parents of what you knew that night?
I don't know anything about them.
Were they mentioned in the phone calls?
No.
Sheriff, how do you feel about the fact that this surrender happened as it was in the police office, at a police station, and kind of was peaceful, inviting as you framed it, and not like a SWAT situation or a big operation that happened in the neighborhood?
Right. That made him comfortable enough. The conditions were satisfactory to him to where he ended up getting a ride with my friend to be dropped off here. We did have some initial discussion internally. So I run the county jail, and we have to think ahead. So what if Tyler ends up staying the night in our facility? What does that look like? Because of the circumstance, he was driven to Utah County that night, I'm going to say maybe about 2 a.m. So that took that weight off us on how we're going to keep him safe in our facility and talking about constant supervision and things like that. But that didn't occur. Yeah. So.
How did you feel about that? Having a surrender at the police office versus something else?
Well, obviously it was a big deal. Not only national but international. You're seeing people mourning all over the world for Charlie Kirk, and to have that happen, I've had thoughts and heard comments about, this kind of stuff doesn't happen in Utah. Unfortunately, it did. But then to have the suspect be a Utah resident who literally went to the same high school I went to. I mean, we're like 30 years apart, but I went to the same high school. He happened to go to the same high school here in Washington County. So it's a double shock factor that one in Utah, and then the suspect happened to be homegrown Washington County boy. So
What time did he get here?
it was just before 9 p.m.
What did you do once he got here? Did you put him in handcuffs?
No.
Nothing?
Nope.
Wow.
Made sure he had water, made him comfortable sitting on a couch in an interview room, and just sat on him until the lead investigators came in.
So his parents didn't say anything?
No, not again. That was not our place to ask questions. It was just, we have you here. We're in a holding pattern until the lead investigators get here.
That's
So
interesting.
that wouldn't be in our wheelhouse. We wouldn't even have attempted to interview any of them.
Sheriff, can you provide some more details about this detective, a friend of yours, retired detective? Was he a member of your homicide unit, violent?
He was a detective. Met for many years. He was a detective. So in our agency, our detectives, like some cities, you you have detective just working homicides or just working sex offenses. Ours is all encompassing whatever case comes next, and you have the smaller caseload. You're going to get whatever case that is.
How long has he been out of the force?
About 3 years.
How grateful are you the fact that this ended the way it did and not in a violent outcome?
Oh, very, very, very much. Like I said, concessions were made to make that happen. So if, again,
Interesting
peaceful
question.
surrender, make him comfortable. He's accused of a horrific crime. So it's kind of odd to be in that, again, accused of a horrific crime, but then we are treating him very civilly, very humanely. And that's just part of the job. We do that on a regular basis, try to make people comfortable so they're relaxed and not bombard them with negativity or hammer fist or stormtrooper type approach. We wouldn't do that.
Sheriff, how many total phone calls were made between you and the retired detective?
There were several follow-up phone calls that night. One was between my command staff and my friend, just them letting me know, hey, he is in the building. We have him in an interview room, and there's been several follow-ups since then. Just me checking in on him, and
all the way from that first call to say we're here, kind of a phone call.
Correct.
Prior to him turning himself in, did you guys have any clue that maybe he was in the Washington area?
No, not even a hint. And that was part of the shock factor, right? Is he could have been anywhere. Most people that are involved or accused of things like that, they'd want to get out of the area as soon as possible. So the fact that he came home basically was part of the shock factor, I think.
You said he was afraid of being shot. What did he say exactly? How did he express that?
Just that.
I mean, shoot, that's as straightforward as it gets.
Just that. One of his fears of being shot by the police. Period. That's it. That my friend conveyed that to me through conversation with Tyler's parents.
Any concern for the family and the roommate's safety if and when they come back to their home in Washington City or in St. George? Any concerns for them?
Oh, absolutely. They need to lay low for a long time, unfortunately. So even I'll throw this out there. I have a second cousin with the last name Robinson. He happens to be an optometrist in town. And his office has been receiving threatening phone calls just because of his last name. So to put somebody in that kind of burdensome situation when they had nothing to do with it, no relation to the family, just think about how the actual individuals involved in this incident are feeling right now.
Are you placing any deputies at their house, outside their house, anything like that?
So that's not our area of patrol, so the cities would handle that. If that request came in, but I don't have any insight there.
Sheriff, can you describe the handoff that occurred from Tyler Robinson to the authorities that came down from the north?
Yeah, they parked in my parking lot. Oh wait, the lead investigators. So by the time they were in town, Tyler was sitting in an interview room with his parents when they arrived. So they were already in this building when the lead investigators arrived.
And how did that handoff go down? Was he handcuffed?
No, he was sitting on a very comfortable couch with a water bottle in his hand, not restrained. He was again
crazy,
cooperative, somber, quiet.
Wow.
Sheriff, since then, what has
Wow.
the ordeal been like for your county in your office?
I've all of a sudden received a lot of media requests. So that's what's changed in my world.
So the parents were in the room, in the interrogation room.
Correct. That was part of the negotiation to get him here, is that the parents would be with him when he arrived.
Can you explain the last moments that did they hug? Did they, was mom crying?
I don't have any detail on that. I'm sorry.
And he was turned over to FBI or state?
It's a joint investigation between the FBI and the state of Utah primarily. Anytime anything this large scale happens, it's all hands on deck. So we're going to need a lot of, just covering the campus and securing the crime scene up north. We've had, active shooter incidents down here recently where every law enforcement wearing every uniform in the county is going to go to those types of scenes.
And just to be clear, he was not handcuffed when he was.
Correct. He was not handcuffed. So.
Did the sheriff's department help secure the perimeter?
Office.
Excuse me, thank you. The office, didn't you help secure the perimeter or the?
Yes. So since the lead investigators were 3 hours north of us, it took them a while. So that was again, I describe it as an agency assist. we went and just secured the homes. We didn't search the homes. We didn't communicate with anyone within the homes. It was just, we were just locking things down until they arrived.
That was Thursday night.
Yes.
Thursday night.
Yeah.
Is the roommate in protective custody? Or?
I don't have any comment on that.
How do you characterize the interactions between the parents, Tyler and Tyler, in the time that they were sitting here?
They were together. That was it. I can't point to any emotion or body language or anything to that. They were just with him. So,
Was he recorded in that room?
all of our interactions in that room are recorded.
Yeah. So somebody can be filing a FOIA.
Potentially suicidal instead of surrendering when he was in the holding room here. Any concern about that?
No. Okay, we can sit here and stare at each other all day, or we can be done. Good? Okay, thank you. We'll try and get the right mics back to you, but I'm not going to wear these all day because then you'll be spying on me and sneaking on me all day, right?
Okay, so there was that. One thing is for sure, that interaction, the way that they were able to arrest him, he surrendered. He was not handcuffed. He was actually treated with like kid gloves in a way. He was treated with absolute respect, which is surprising, especially after doing what he did. But maybe that was the terms and the conditions that the family put out there. Like, hey, we really want you guys to not roughhouse him, not do anything crazy, just bring him in. He's willing to come in, don't pull the trigger. He will not be armed. We just want this to be a peaceful a peaceful transfer, right? But that's interesting. And the fact that he was just sitting there chilling, like he just sat on the, you know what I mean? Just sat on there, sat on the couch, just chilling. That's crazy. That's absolutely crazy, guys. But there it is. They worked some sort of deal out, and then he was able to come in without any issues. What say you on that? Is that surprising to you? Does that anger you? What? I think that's just very interesting. They didn't even handcuff him. They just kept him in a room, and he sat there with a bottle of water, sat there on the couch without any restraints, nothing. They didn't treat him like any kind of criminal at that time until now. That's crazy. It's very interesting. But, I will also say this too. They will be, for a fact, everybody's going to try to get that FOIA, right? Try to file the FOIA so they can get the footage of him actually being put into this room, sitting there with the water bottle, just chilling, not handcuffed, and just in there watched by an officer. It's crazy. It's crazy. Beautiful Messy Ball, thank you so much for the super chat. Many people don't understand the First Amendment. Most people don't understand the First Amendment. Doesn't give you free speech without consequences, but speech free from prosecution by the government. Thank you so much for that information. Yeah, I mean, again, I believe in the First Amendment just like everybody else. Yes, there are some bad sides to it, right? Just like the right to bear arms. There are some very bad things to that too. There's some pros and there's some cons, right? I think this is interesting. Hollis, you may be right. Maybe it is a tactic that they used. Maybe they thought that by bringing him in a very, very calm and easy way, this would not cause. Maybe they were hoping that he would confess or say more, get more information, right, from him by saying, hey, we will show you trust. We will show you that you can trust us by simply coming in, and we won't do anything to you. We won't roughhouse you. We won't put you in handcuffs. We won't make a scene of it. All we're asking for you to do is come in, sit down, and you'll be arrested. By them doing that, maybe they were hoping that he was going to start just squawking, saying everything, right? And it looks like that's not the case, because apparently he is very tight-lipped about everything right now. There are so many holes in this story. I believe that the text messages that he had with his lover, there's more to it. Why were those things redacted? That's what I'd like to know. Unless Twigs, because all the information is like, oh yeah, that old man, you know, he got detained by some old man. Maybe there's some information that Twigs was sending to him that they took out of the conversation that they had together. Maybe they took that out to protect Twigs out of their deal. Maybe that's what the situation was. But I still feel in my heart of hearts that there's more to this story than what they've given us so far. And it could very well be. The reason why that they haven't given it to us yet is because maybe they haven't heard enough from Tyler yet. But only time will tell, right? We'll find out more information here soon enough. But that is the show, guys. I appreciate all y'all for being here. It really means a lot. Thank you so much for tuning in. Do me a favor before you head out. Hit that like button down below. Crush it, do it, do. Hit that reaction button if you're watching on other platforms. If you are watching on these other platforms like Facebook, X, Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, Rumble, Kick, please make sure you follow. Follow. Please and thank you. Don't forget, subscribe to this channel, okay? We're keeping an eye on this. There's many other cases that we're talking about as well. So make sure you're subscribed to this channel. Hit that notification bell so you know whenever I go live, all right? Hit that join button down below. Become a member. Check out my Patreon. And, of course, check out PascalMerch.com. All right? But anyway, guys, it's time to get going. Much love to you guys. I got to hop off. But we'll probably maybe be back on a little late tonight. We'll see. Okay? But stay safe out there because the streets are actually wilding out. Be safe out there, please, and thank you. And we'll be talking here very soon. Be good to yourselves. Be good to one another. This is The Pascal Show. Bye.